Hello, you're watching movie Snapshot scenes, and this is the summary of Edge of Tomorrow, 2014. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The year is not far away, and Earth is losing. The Mimics are a foreign race that has swept across Europe like a storm, moving quickly and destroying everything in its path. The United Defense Force is the only thing that can save humanity. It is a world military alliance that wants to turn the tide. Major William Cage, played by Tom Cruise, isn't a fighter in this war. He's just a talker. There is a smooth-talking public relations worker who sells wins from behind the camera. He's charming, sure of himself, and scared of fighting. That will soon change, though. When Cage is sent to London to meet General Brigham, he hopes to get another job with the press. Instead, Brigham sends him to the front lines to cover a huge attack on the beaches of France by aliens. "I'm not trained for battle," Cage says to get out of it, and he laughs it off at first. Brigham isn't asking, though. It's a command. When Cage refuses and says he will reveal the military's flaws, the general arrests him, takes away his rank, and throws him on a transport ship as a deserter. Cage wakes up in the early morning on the cold metal floor of a military camp at Heathrow. His uniform is changed to battle gear, and his ID says, "Forging papers" on it. There are tough guys around him, soldiers who think he's just another coward who has to fight. The rough-looking captain of the unit, Farrell, Bill Paxton, greets him with the mean humor that only dead men walking use. Soon after, the group is put on dropships that are going to the front. Fear and static electricity fill the air. The troops pray, make jokes, and act like they're ready. The horror starts, though, when the ships break through the clouds. The ocean below is lit up by explosions, as the Mimics move through human lines at impossible speeds. The attack is a trap meant to kill people. Cage walks around the battlefield, scared, confused, and not at all ready. He sees men and women being ripped apart in an instant, leaving the sand covered in blood and smoke. In an effort to stay alive, he grabs the weapon of a dead soldier and shoots randomly, but nothing hits him. Then, out of nowhere, one of the creatures charges at him. It is bigger and faster than the others, and it's glowing blue with power. It's an alpha, which is one of the strongest types of mimic. Cage shoots the thing with a grenade launcher out of fear, but as the blood's acidic spray hits him, he screams in pain and falls down. It gets dark. After that, he wakes up. Everything was the same as before. The same base, the same morning, the same people, the same words, and the same events. Cage doesn't get it. He is living through the day he died again, over and over. Every moment, the war, the fear, the crash, repeats itself over and over. By dying, Major William Cage has taken on the enemy's power, the power to turn back time. This isn't a gift, though. He will have to go through hell over and over again until he learns how to fight it. Cage gasps for air as he wakes up on the same metal floor, with the same angry sergeant yelling and the same constant noise of the military camp at Heathrow. He first thinks it's a bad dream. Sergeant Farrell walks toward Cage with the same grin and keeps saying the same things. This makes Cage feel scared. Every single feature is the same slurs, the very same men. Outside the hangar, the same seagull would land on the same rail. He is remembering the day. At one point, Cage tries to warn them. He begs Farrell to listen and stop the operation, saying that the beach attack will fail. But the others think he's crazy. In just a few hours, he's back in armor, on the same transport ship, and about to start the same failed attack. He feels scared again, and the chaos is playing out like a plot he can't escape. He tries to act differently by diving for cover and getting a different tool. It's not important. The Mimics can't be stopped as they tear through the human lines. Cage is dead again in minutes. He then wakes up. The same morning, the same words, the same reality playing over and over again. Time is now his jail. Death changes everything, no matter what he does. He tries leaving the camp, hiding under a truck and getting away through the crowd, but each time he fails and dies a terrible death. Every time he wakes up, he feels more hopeless, his fear changing into anger and then to shock. But as he does it over and over, something changes. He starts to see patterns. When the dropships will arrive, how the soldiers moved. Attacks by the Mimics. Cage starts to remember everything. Every bang, every shout, and every step toward death. Slowly, instinct takes the place of fear. But even though he knows more, he can't do anything until one death changes everything. She is played by Emily Blunt and is known as the Angel of Verdun and the war's most honored hero. He sees her in one of the loops. She's mean, brave, and accurate, and she cuts through Mimics like a dancer of death. Cage looks in awe until she realizes he's looking at her. "Find me when you wake up," she tells him right before a falling mech crushes her. A short time later, he dies again and gets up, but now he has a job to do. He He desperately tries to figure out what Rita meant by what she said at the base. She gives him a cold look when he finally finds her and tells her, "You told me to find you after I wake up." Her face changes right away. He finally has someone believe him. She has seen it before. She used to have the same strength. Rita says that the mimics are not just monsters, but a hive that is run by an alpha and its brain, the Omega. When Cage killed that alpha on the beach and got covered in its blood, he took on its power to turn back time. He is now stuck in the loop they use to win every fight. However, Rita sees a chance. They might find the Omega and end the war for good if they train him to fight like her over and over again. Cage's curse starts to look like humanity's last chance for the first time. The next morning, or at least it feels like the next morning, Cage wakes up on the same cold floor, hearing the same boots walk by and the same sergeant's voice. This time, though, he has a plan. Rita Vrataski is the only person who can help him figure out how to get out of the loop he's stuck in. She knows his secret. She is all business when he sees her again at the training center. There was no kindness or comfort, only cold, hard accuracy. She tells him, "Every day we start from scratch. You're dead. You restart. You understand." The words hurt him very much. Rita introduces him to Dr. Carter, a scientist who used to study the mimic's power to time loop but was shut down by the military. Carter tells Cage that his blood now has alien bits in it that link him to the Omega's network of timelines. The day starts over every time he dies. The mimics use the same power to plan ahead and win every fight. She doesn't waste time. She puts him in an exosuit, which is a heavy steel cage full of guns. "You're not fighting to stay alive," she tells them. "You are trying hard to learn." The nightmare then starts. Cage trains every day under Rita's harsh orders. He does drills where he fights, dodges attacks, and shoots heavy weapons, but every time he fails. She doesn't think twice about shooting him herself when he's too slow. Every time before she shoots, she says, "Come back tomorrow." Death is normalized. Cage learns the beat of the battlefield like a dancer over many resets. Every move Rita makes and every trick the mimics set is burned into his mind. Each loss makes him better. He learns something new every time he dies. The officer who used to be scared slowly turns into a skilled fighter as his fear is replaced by focus. The loops blend together into one long day that goes on forever. As Cage and Rita start to train outside, they act out the attack of the beach. They fight together, coordinating their moves, avoiding enemy fire, and killing mimics with great accuracy. Every loop ends with death, sometimes his and sometimes hers, but always progress. Even though it hurts, they are learning to understand each other better. Rita, who used to be the perfect soldier, sees herself in Cage, the weight of dying over and over again for a goal that no one else can understand. She stays away from him, though. To Cage's question, "Do you remember the people they save every day?" She shakes her head. She says, "They're gone already. They still don't know it." In between drills one night, Cage tells everyone that he has lost track of how many times he has died. Rita doesn't move. She says in a soft voice, "Then stop counting. Begin to win." Cage gets smarter, stronger, and faster with each reset. He's not the cowardly fool who stumbled through battle anymore. Another thing is taking shape in him, a weapon made of repeat, a soldier born from infinity. But as he gets better at the loop, a new question comes up. How do you get out of a war where every death starts over? Cage has no idea how many days, weeks, or months have passed. Time doesn't mean anything anymore. It starts every morning with Sergeant Farrell's voice, the clank of metal in the dorms, and the cold sting of the armor being locked in place. But as Cage and Rita keep doing the same thing over and over, they start to go beyond training. They start to use each loop as a scouting route, getting bits of information from all of the possible routes. Every time you fail, you learn something new about the enemy. Rita thinks that the only way to end the war is to find and destroy the Omega, which is the mimic's hive thought. But it's almost hard to find. In Europe, the thing hides deep underground and keeps one step ahead of people by controlling time. Rita and Cage need a map that doesn't exist, and Cage is the only one who knows where it is. Dr. Carter says that Cage's mind resets every time he dies, but that if he is exposed to the alien's influence for long enough, he might start to see visions of where the Omega is. Carter says, "Your mind is connected to the network. You are now part of their system. You'll see what they see if we can make a link." Rita and Cage will go back to the front lines over and over with the goal of getting deeper into enemy territory each time. By dying over and over again, Cage learns every part of the battlefield, which fighter dies first, where the mimics appear, when to roll and fire, and so on. It turns into a dangerous dance between order and chaos. Afterward, it takes place in one loop. Cage falls down next to a dying mimic after a fierce battle. As the being writhes, his vision gets fuzzy and a lot of pictures flash through his mind. Dark tunnels, water swirling around huge organic machines, and a red-lit cavern below the Earth's surface. He takes a deep breath and tells Rita, "I saw it. The Omega." The task changes when the next reset starts. She takes him to a quiet part of the base that they've turned into a makeshift war room by building loops on loops. With the help of maps and sketches, they figure out what he saw. It's under a dam somewhere in Germany. They can end the war if they can get there, but Cage knows they have to make it through the attack beach first. So far, every loop has failed. They tried dozens of routes, alternate routes, and timing plans together. All of them fail. Rita dies early some of the time, Cage can't protect her, and they both die in fires before they even get to the dunes. But each death teaches them something, and Cage starts to see things that can't happen. He moves through fight like a ghost, as if time itself is following him. After yet another loop, Rita looks at him and says in a low voice, "You're not the same man who landed on that beach." It's not an answer. He does not need to. He's not just remembering the war anymore. He's writing it over again, 1 second at a time and death by death. And each reset makes him 1 heartbeat closer to stopping it for good. The same steel clang can be heard in the air as Cage wakes up again on the floor of the barracks. But he is different now. He's tired every part of him, not just his body. He's died a lot of times, maybe even thousands. He has seen Rita fall many times and her body get hit, burned, and crushed. Each loop starts with hope and ends with failure. Repetition used to make him stronger, but now it feels like a cage with walls that he can't see. He still does what he needs to do. Training, make plans, going to die, trying again. He doesn't want to do it this time though, when he sees Rita at the base. He sees that she doesn't remember all the things they've talked about, the jokes, the plans, and the little things that happened in between fights. When he looks at her, she thinks that every day is the first time they meet. She's become the only thing that stays the same in his never-ending nightmare. They keep going with their plan to find the Omega's hiding place in the German dam. After dozens of failed loops, Cage finally keeps Rita alive long enough to get to a new area. A battlefield adjacent, empty farmland. There they hide in an old farmhouse where it is quiet except for the sound of thunder far away. Cage feels at peace for the first time in what seems like a long time. Inside, Rita fixes her exosuit and Cage makes coffee in an old rusty machine. The moment feels flimsy, almost like a person. She gives him a light laugh when he tries to act normal, and he forgets for a second that they are in a war that keeps starting over. She sees the sadness in his eyes when he looks at her though. She asks, "How many times have we been here?" It's not an answer. Rita looks at him for a short time. "Each time you start over, you lose me, right?" He gives a nod. She says in a soft voice, "Then don't let it stop you. The only thing that can save us is you." The illusion of quiet is broken when they finally leave the farmhouse. Mimics attack from the woods in large groups. Cage tries very hard to keep her safe, even though he knows how this will end. Even though he tries hard, Rita is hit again. The same scream, the same end. He falls down next to her, sparks flying from his armor, and whispers, "Not again." Then the blast kills him, and the loop starts over. Cage doesn't go to Rita this time though. His only job is to walk around the base by himself and avoid going to fight. He's lost and seen too much. He doesn't want to fight this time. He just sits there on the edge of the runway and watches the planes take off into a dawn that he has seen 1,000 times before. Being stuck in forever is making him lose his humanity. So that's when he notices something new, a tiny bit of rebellion in the tiredness. He might not have to keep remembering the same day over and over again. There may be a way to end the loop that doesn't involve dying again. You could risk everything to face the Omega without starting over. He finally makes up his mind. If he's going to die, it should mean something. When Cage opens his eyes, he sees the same metal floor, the same sergeant yelling, and the same boots ringing through the barracks. He doesn't move this time though, as he lies there and stares at the ceiling. He knows the truth. He will never win if he keeps looping. He is now cursed with the power that helped him. He must put an end to it for good. He doesn't do what he usually does when he finally gets up. He walks right up to Rita with an ease she doesn't quite understand yet. "This can't go on," he tells her. "The Omega knows. I'm being used. It gets stronger with each turn." She frowns and looks at his face. His eyes don't show any doubt. They only show determination. She says, "Then we kill it for good." Cage says that in one of his dreams, he saw the Omega's defenses changing and adapting. It always knows where they're coming from. Now, their only chance is to surprise it, which means he has to lose the power to restart. Dr. Carter pays close attention as Cage and Rita pay him one last call. Carter says, "If you bleed out, the power goes to the Omega. But if we give you new blood, you'll lose the link. Not any more restarts. There will be no more second chances." Rita looks at Cage with a straight face. "We've already had enough chances. It's a quick and cold process." When it's over, Cage feels odd, lighter but more open. There is no longer a safety net. Now that there has been one death, it's really over. But now, the world feels real again for the first time. That night, they steal a dropship from the base and head for Paris, a place the mimics haven't seen in a long time. Below them, Europe is in ruins, with rivers black with trash and the Eiffel Tower bent and broken by alien strands. As they come down, lightning flashes across a stormy sky. There are only Cage, Rita, and a few loyal men on the team. They don't know how many times their boss has already seen them die. As they fly low, they avoid radar and weave through the rubble. The alarms then go off, telling them that the mimics have found them. Starfire makes the sky bright. When their ship is hit, fires follow it as it goes through the flooded streets of Paris. They hit something close to the Louvre and were thrown into the water. Cage pulls himself out of the rubble, with blood and water all over him. Rita comes out next to him with a gun in her hand and her eyes fixed on the huge building in front of them, the Louvre Pyramid, which is now partially flooded and lit up with blue light. The Omegas below it. It looks like shadows are moving through the ruins, and the mimics are following them. The team fights hard to keep them back while Cage and Rita move forward. A man falls after another until there are only two left. They jump into the flooded room below the pyramid and swim through the rubble and alien tissue until they reach the Omega, a huge, glowing brain that pulses with energy like a living storm. It's hypnotic, scary, and beautiful all at the same time. She looks at Cage. "I'll keep it busy. You finish this." She charges forward and fires everything she has before he can stop her. She is knocked down by the Omega's tentacles. Cage yells, but he keeps going and dives at the thing. He takes out a bomb belt from his armor and swims closer as the Omega's core glows brighter and energy waves bend the water. For a split second, he floats in front of it and sees every death, loop, and time he failed. He then takes out the pin. The blast makes the water look like dawn. Cage can't see as well as the impact spreads. Release, the peace that comes from finally being free, is the last thing he feels. And up above, the sun comes up for the first time of a new day. "Keep quiet." Cage's eyes slowly open. The soft, unreal light of morning fills his eyes and makes it impossible to see. His heart is beating fast, and his lungs are gasping like they're breaking the top of deep water. He is lying on a cot in a military hospital. He sits up, confused. There are no alarms, no screaming sergeant, and no cold metal floor. It feels different. The time hasn't changed. The bass outside can be heard through the window. There are quiet voices, engines, and laughing. A laugh. He gets out of bed slowly, his worn-out flight suit still on, and walks to the mirror. His image makes him look older, spooky, but still alive. There is no blood, no armor, and no other evidence of the long war he lived through. Mimic Forces collapse is the breaking news on the digital screen on the wall. Victory announced around the world. There is no more war. People have won. The truth is known to Cage, though. There is no more Omega because it was destroyed in the flooded ruins below the Louvre. The creature's power must have risen one last time when the grenade went off, starting over the world without the mimic's control. He's back in some way, but in this version of reality, the enemy was already dead before the final fight. As he walks through the base, the troops he has seen die 1,000 times come back to life. They are laughing and talking, and they have no idea what they've been through. The air is now lighter and feel better instead of scary. Cage keeps a close eye on them as he tries to believe the unbelievable. He's free now, but no one remembers the hell he went through to get there. He walks toward the hangars, where planes are lined up and quiet as their engines cool down after the last patrols. London is bright and still as the sun goes down. It feels too peaceful and real in every way. He still can't believe it's over. He then sees her. Rita Vrataski, also known as the Angel of Verdun, stands next to a group of soldiers. The sun makes her armor shine. She's still living, even though there have been loops, deaths, and chaos. He's just another police cop to her. She's never met him, but to him, she was the thing that held him together and kept him going. He comes up slowly because he doesn't know what to say. She frowns a little and looks at him with interest. She asks, "Can I help you, Major?" Just like the first time he met her, Her tone is stiff and businesslike. Cage looks at her for a long time, trying to find even the tiniest sign that she knows who she is. Not one. Still, he smiles. He says in a soft voice, "No, ma'am. You have already." But there's something in his tone that makes her stop and think. A hint of love she can't place. Cage gives her a salute, then turns and goes away. She watches him leave, as if she can feel the weight of something that hasn't been said. Outside, the wind brings the distant roar of planes, the sound of freedom, of skies that are no longer full of the ghosts of the dead. A jet takes off in the morning, and Cage stands by the airport to watch it. He can feel the warmth of a new world on his face from the sun. He isn't thinking about the next loop, death, or task for the first time. There's nothing more to say, not yet. When he closes his eyes, he hears Rita's voice, her orders, and her laughter. These are bits and pieces of lives that don't exist anymore, but will always be in his mind. She taught him how to stand up for himself, fight, and have faith. Cage slowly lets out a breath and smiles again as the jet disappears into the clouds. He is no longer locked up in time. He's just a man who won the war, and more importantly, himself. The lesson hasn't changed. Every day, every moment is a second chance, but only if you're brave enough to live it.